I'm Jill Foster, and welcome to your next PB&J card class. Today I'll be sharing with you 3 cards created using a sketch. The cards use the following penny black stamps: So Blessed, Inspiring, and Music Note background. Here's a look at those cards and the sketch. To begin, we'll be creating this card. I'm using penny black mix and match cardstock in white and the sentiment from the penny black set, So Blessed, and I'm stamping that sentiment onto my cardstock, and then I'll go ahead and tear the corner. Now I'm using the leaves, or sort of the ferns, from the cling set Inspiring from penny black, and I'm beginning by inking this with VersaFine ink in Deep Lagoon. And I'm just going to stamp this in a couple of spots on the background. I love that this stamp has sort of a two-tone look to it. And I'm going to make sure I thoroughly clean that off before I go to my next color, which is Imperial Purple by VersaFine ink. So I'm just inking that up. Then I'm going to sort of turn that and stamp it onto the background. Again, I'm going to thoroughly clean the stamp before moving to my next color. And the next color will be Spanish Moss, also a VersaFine ink. And I'm going to stamp this into several places, just filling in any open areas that I see on that background. And I am re-inking each time. And now, because I am going to use Copics over the top of this, I want to make sure that it's completely dry, so I will heat it with my heat gun. Now I'm going to take my Copic marker and I'm just going to feather right over the top of the stamped portions to add some additional shading. So I'm starting with the green and I'm feathering out from the center of the leaf, or wherever the leaf is closest to the stem. I'm going to add a darker color, not feathering out as far as I did with the first color. And I'll list the exact colors used at the end of the video. Now I'll go back and blend with that first color that I started with, coloring over the top of the dark area and extending beyond. And I'll continue to do that with the blue and the purple colors. Once that's done, I'm going to take Copic marker C3 and I'm going to outline around all sides of each image. And I really think this is the finishing touch that makes these pop, especially once we add our distress ink on top. So you can see there, once I've outlined all that, that shadow really gives that dimension. And now we're going to add some distressing. I'm starting with old paper distress ink, starting off of the edge and working my way onto the paper. This is the ink blending tool with a foam pad. And I want to darken that up even more, so now I'm going to use brushed corduroy distress ink. And I'm getting mostly the corners and the bottom portion. I'm not going over the entire piece with the brushed corduroy. I still want it to have sort of a glow in the center. Now to add one more layer of stamping, I'll take Music Note background by penny black and ink that with brushed corduroy ink. Before I apply it to my paper, I'm going to rub off just randomly some portions with a baby wipe. I'll lay down my stamped piece on top, hold with one hand and rub with the other. And I just want to darken up that torn edge and sort of fold down those corners. So I just added a little extra brushed corduroy around the edges. Now the final bit of stamping we're doing is onto penny black mix and match cardstock. This wood grain stamp is from the same set as the leaves that are on the focal piece, and I'm inking that with Deep Lagoon VersaFine ink. I'm just going to lay that right on top of my paper. This isn't a really big cling stamp, so I feel like I could just lay it right on the paper. And then I'm going to re-ink. And line it up along the right-hand side so that it covers the entire top piece of the card. I just assembled that with some paper that was run through the embossing folder by Sizzix and layered them onto the card. Here's another look at the sketch used to create that card. And I was having so much fun with the sketch, I decided to make a couple more samples following that sketch. So here's the first one. And then for the second sample, I went ahead and turned the sketch or rotated it onto its side. And here's another look at the complete set. Thanks so much for watching. For details and more information, visit the Penny Black website at www.pennyblackink.com. And here's a look at all the supplies used in creating our first card.